Hi and welcome back. Today's episode is about sequence and using the function range in Python. Today we will see how to create sequence using the function range. Also, we will see how to create sequence of integers and float numbers. Okay, starting here. What is range? Range is an object, a proper object in Python, where we will create a sequence of values using certain conditions. For example, start, stop, step. This is like creating a list, but range is by itself an object in R. Let's see when I use the function range. Here, range create starting from 0 to 5. That means that there are default values starting at 0 and step 1, as we can see here. Let's read, for example, this example. Here we have starting at 0, finish it at 11. This is the stop, where our list or sequence will finish, and 2 is the step. That means that we're going to create a sequence starting at 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 respectively. 11 is not included. It's important. Why? Because for example, here we're saying to R that we want to create a sequence of values starting at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember that this is the value. Also, we will have an index starting at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how Python works. Here, we will create this sequence of values. The values in our index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 respectively. Let's see, for example, if I keep this object in one variable. As you can see here, we create an object. Okay, type range object. Size 1, it counts as only 1 because it's only one object. Okay, but we know that it's going to be a sequence of these 6 values. Let's see more. Save, or I want to change this starting. We can say, okay, I want to start at 3 and stop at 5. That means we're going to create a sequence or list of values only containing 2 values. Why? Because it's not included. So if I say, okay, X is going to be a range starting at 3 and finishing at 5. Let's see what it's going to be. Here in the console, you can see we have created an object only with 2 elements. As you can see here, X range object, it changed. Now let's print it, but we will have nothing. So how to access to these values, right? It's important to know how to access to these values, because usually we create sequence of integers for using some loop or for printing some values from a list, from a data frame, accessing to all other objects. Okay, that's one of the main purposes of using range. So let's see. Type. Which type of object is range? Range is an object type range. How to access? Okay, with the common indexes. Let's say x2. Let's see. I said x is equal to range 3 to 5. That means it's only 2 elements. What is going to happen if I say x0? We're going to access to the first element. Okay. Here we can see is 3. Is the first element, the second element. So before, what if I have to access to a third element in the index 2? Error, of course, because it's out of range. Why? Because I create this object only with 2 elements. We can save this back. X is gonna be now a different object, and if I go to the index 2, it's 4, as we see here. First, second, and third element is gonna be 4. Okay, perfect. Now let's see the third one. The position, third position, but the index 4. The index is 3. It is 6. Okay. Let's continue with this. What if I don't save the object in one range object and I want to obtain the value in that position, for example, in the position 1 or index 1 in this object. Okay, let's see if it's possible. Okay, I know I have that object. Now the first position, okay, it's 1. Perfect. That means that is possible. This is the sequence or list of values we have. Now, same. Now here what it says, okay, well, I'm going to create an object coming or starting from 0 to 9. Because why? Because 10 is not included. But with the step 2, what is going to be this object? So it's going to start 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then I stop. Why I stop there? Because 10 is not included. Okay. Here, for example, I can see what is going to be the value or the element in the position 5 or index 5. It's no object there. As you can see, if I change it to 4, it's going to show me 8 as we had here. Let's see more. What about if you want a decreasing sequence? This is how we're going to do it. We're going to start at 5 and finish it at 4, at 0. Okay, but be careful. Instead of the step has to be negative, that means that we're going to be decreasing. Let's see what is going to be those elements. For example, here, like something like this. I'm going to go to the element, the first one, it's 5. Where this is going to stop? Let's see the index 4. It's 1. Maybe there is an element in the index 5. No. Why? Because 0 is not included. So simple. Okay, let's see how to access to all these elements using a for loop. We're going to access to all of those values here in range. We're going to copy them in I, and then we're going to print them. Here it is. That's how we're going to access all the values in range using a for. This is one of the ways, okay? Because maybe I could have a list, and then I'm going to access to those values using range. Let's see now. Let's continue. Let's see here, for example. This is what we have. Current value 0 to 4, accessing all these values. We have created so far a sequence of integers, but can I create a sequence using float or double numbers, real numbers? What? Okay, I have two solutions for that. Maybe we can say, okay, yes, this is my list. This is a list. Every element coming from range. Let's see. We're going to have 10 values here from 0 to 9, as you can see. And then for all these values, as we use here, you see, as we use here, for all these values, please divide them by 10. This is what we're going to do. First, we're going to create a range. Coming from 0 to 9, we're going to have 10 elements. And for all those values, we're going to copy them in X temporarily. Then divide them by 10. Divide them by 10. All of each of them, divide them by 10. And then with this bracket, we're going to create a list. Let's see. Here you go. You have a sequence or a list of values using integers. Yes, 0, 0.1, 0.2, so on to 0.5. That's one solution. So you can see here, this is the process. Okay, using the for. All this is more or less what we have here inside the brackets. The solution could be, for me, using Numpy. We're going to start first Numpy. And then we're going to use something called linspace. It's an array, as we will see in future videos, what is an array. But here we're going to say, okay, this is my start, my stop. Here, linspace is not limited to integers only. We can create different, as you can see, different values. But as you can see here, I haven't told linspace where it's going to be the length of this or the width for each interval. For example, I just say, okay, create me a space from 0 to 2, but I didn't say what's going to be the step. What about if I say that I want a length of 11 elements? Let's see here now. It is different. Okay, I'm gonna divide my space from 0 to 1 in 11 different parts. This is how we're gonna create this. Then there are different ways to create a sequence of values full of numbers. This is one of the answers. Other ways we can use, or which are the other functions for range? Okay, we can create some values. For example, as I said before, access to a list. Let's see a score. Score is a list of values. We have 5 values. Using range, I can access to all these values in a score. How? Because we're gonna take all these values in range, as we previously see, with length. What is a length? Length is gonna be, of course, how elements or the number of elements in a score. I have 5 values. Let's say, okay, range, create me range of 0 to 5, 0 to 4 elements. That means 5 elements. And then I'm going to access to all of these elements in scores using these values from range 0 to 5, 0 to 4, because these are the index 0, index 1, or position 1, position 2, position 3, and position 4. And let's see what we have. You go, you say 0, 54, and so on, right? This is one of the functions for using range, for creating some list or sequence of values, integer or float, as you want to, and then to access two values in other object, in this case a list. Also, what about, I don't really like working with range. Which other function or object can I use instead of this? Okay, we're gonna use this function, enumerate. Let's see what enumerate does. You see, enumerate is not, as you can see here, it doesn't print us any number. It's just going to count the number of values there. You can see here, it's a union of the values, the scores, and the index. Let's see here that the 4 is we're gonna use two elements for accessing to enumerate. The that means the position, and score the value. And let's see what we have. It's the same than using range, of course. But if you have some problems with range and you don't know how to handle range, or how many elements in range you have to create, use enumerate. Enumerate is gonna use, or you're gonna unite index and values. And then in the 4, we call both. This is the solution I present. If you like it, see you.